investment. It's not a comic book. It's it's a game book.
It's more like buying a car. It's only going to lose value.
Walk out of the game shop, right?
Well, here's a question. What do you guys want out of 5th edition?
That's a good question. I want something that facilitates, and I know, Dan, you said this before, you inject it yourself, but 4th edition just didn't feel like
a role-playing game.
It felt like a simulation, a combat simulation. It felt like a tabletop video game.
Right.
Yeah. Your actual character just felt totally irrelevant.
There was no feel of this is my character. This is
right.
I get to make a character as how I want or whatever. I've played this talent tree, so I'm stuck with it until I die. Yeah, there's not a lot of flexibility. Right. It was very regimented. Whereas 3.5 is completely flexible with multi-class. It's like they tried to correct 3.5 by going completely the wrong way. I think 4th edition, to its merit, wasn't as nearly as breakable as 3.5 because you're stuck on a path. That's what you do. You have these choices you could make and these different powers that you could adjust and things like that. But I think they got too focused on that and went away from the social experience of playing the game. I also attribute it to the way they laid out the adventures. If you lay out an adventure as this is encounter 1 to be followed by encounter 2 to be followed by encounter 3, and it's just combat stuff.
Very regimented.
Yeah, the combat was very
you want them
complicated.
to bring back the fluff in the adventures.
Anything that helps the game master in their storytelling, I think that is what. So essentially, 4th edition is the Michael Bay version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
that's right. That's not content. That's special effects.
Right.
What do you think, Sean?
I just hope it's player friendly.
Well, and that's true because
someone who's never really experienced
3.5 is not player friendly. 4th edition is not player friendly. So I mean that's a valid statement.
Has D&D ever been player friendly?
No.
Depends on the game master.
You'll remember it that way, but I'm
basic D&D.
Basic D&D.
That's because it was so vague. You just made everything up.
It was.
I liked it. I like the ability to do whatever.
That's hard to do from a rules. So what you're saying is it needs to be rules light,
very light.
Or open.
If what they're saying is true, that sounds like
give the DM all the power.
That seems. Well,
I don't like giving the DM all the power.
Well, they need to figure out a way to make money off this stuff without ruining the game. Because you iterate with more books and more powers and more classes, and inevitably, because combos happen, unless you're just forbidding combos, and that's not very fun, you're going to break your own game. So they need to figure out how to make money off of the other things, like the adventures.
Well,
and really mine Dungeon and Dragon. I'd like to see them to bring both of those back as an actual magazine again.
Here's something else that I just thought of when you said that, and it kind of stems from something that Jason just said in jest. I think that D&D, when D&D took the power away from the DM, that's when it became not as strong of a game. Think about it. 1st edition, 2nd edition, the DM,
it was the DM's
the DM's all powerful. The DM, but then once you hit 3rd edition, 3.5, 4th edition, the power went away from the DM because the players open up the book and go, well, I can have this power and I can have this power and I can have this feat and I can have these combinations because they're in the rules, and you have nothing to say about that.
Well, that's another thing.
It really catered to power gamers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and then I understand it's probably always going to be lopsided because at any given table, your GM is outnumbered 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 to 1. I think they need to do more GM centric source books and material.
Right, which in turn means more fluff.
Yes, indeed.
I'm all for that.
Getting back to my Hollywood analogy, it's not the direction that things are going. People are convinced that they don't need writers for anything.
And then when you don't have good writing, it really shows. You end up with essentially a book of stereo instructions that's supposed to be a game.
Or a reality show.
We certainly don't want that.
Well, speaking of writers, their goal for this sounds like a pipe dream, trying to bring back everyone. And
well, yeah, they're hitting on every...
Trying to cater to any edition.
Yeah.
But the one thing that has sparked...
This is marketing, Mike. They're trying not to alienate everybody right out of the gate.
No, what this is right now is rallying the troops.
Yeah. And the way they did that was by getting Monty Cook, because apparently he's the one guy in the whole industry that everyone seems to agree.
And they better have paid him a boatload of money.
So is this going to bring a little World of Darkness taste to D&D?
The only thing that would make D&D better than having just Monty Cook would be to add Dan Abnett to the mix.
With a little sprinkling of Steve Kinson. There's your trio to make your game right there.
That's a menage right there.
And resurrect, what's his junk?
Gygax?
No, the other guy.
I'd say we can have Castles and Crusades.
Huh?
Arneson?
Yeah, that guy, Dave Arneson. Mike and I saw him at Gen Con. He just looked sad.
Needed a hug.
Saw Ernie Hudson at Gen Con. He looks sad, too.
Well, I mean, he's dead now, but...
Ernie Hudson is not dead. He's very much alive.
I'm talking about Dave Arneson. Here's another question, because I seem to recall us having a conversation about this in the not-too-distant past. Mike, did you not predict this?
Ernie Hudson.
I think everybody who's known 5th edition has been in the works forever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
But I seem to recall Mike coming in one night and saying, well, the writing's on the wall. 5th edition will be out in the next few years. And there was something that happened that Mike...
I thought it wasn't at the hiring of Monty Cook?
Yeah, but that wasn't too long
There was something
ago.
about something that was going to come out had been canceled or something, and
you're
you said
talking about the Mordenkainen's book.
Yes.
that usually hallmarks the end of an edition.
They were scaling back on their product schedule, yeah.
And when was that?
That was
like a year ago.
Well, maybe they realized also that they were just producing crap, and that I'm not a fanboy at all, but there's a classic Steve Jobs quote. He's talking to the head of Nike. He says, you make a lot of really good products, but you make a lot of crap. Stop making the crap. It's true. Dungeons Wizards of the Coast, you make some good stuff. Stop making all the crap. It's like they have no quality control. There's just too many people working, creating too much stuff at one time.
Right. Well, it almost gets to the point where it's almost like they're throwing everything against the wall to see if anything sticks.
Well, okay, I got one other interesting quote on here that's relevant to what you're saying. This was probably Merle's. It says, working on a game that's almost 40 years old now, which I think it is exactly 4 years. We've seen the complex end of the game, and what happened with each edition of D&D is it got more complex, and what we need to do is go back to the original D&D. So what it is the game's been around so long, and there's only you can just look at board games like Risk or Monopoly. At some point you can only redesign the game so much. So I think they finally hit a wall is what happened, and they're going back to the start.
Well, and you know what? Long story short, or putting a bow on it, or whatever you want to say, it really does take a lot of guts to say we screwed up.
Well, they haven't exactly said that. They haven't come right out and said those words.
As far as a corporation is concerned, that post that they put out, their mission statement or whatever, that basically acknowledged, yes, 4th edition was a total failure.
That's as close as you'll get to them actually telling the truth.
Yes.
It's like trying to get a politician to say no.
I still am cheesed off at Wizards of the Coast. I am when I first heard this news, I snickered. I think I texted Eric. I think I texted Dan. Like when I texted Dan, I said 5th edition, LOL.
Right.
At first I was
just a valid knee-jerk reaction.
It was just kind of like, because I know that, and I couldn't remember what the timeline was. I know that 4th edition had only been out for a few years.
2008.
And I'm just like, those people that went out and bought that, me not being one of them. I mean, I put my foot down at 3.5 and said, I'm done. I'm not buying anymore. I'm not going to do it. All those people that spent money on this stuff the last few years have basically now been told that their money was wasted. And I can see that there's a lot of people that are passionate about 4th edition. They love 4th edition. And those people, unless their voice is heard, they're probably going to lose what they love about 4th edition in the new edition, unless they somehow magically are capable of having a Frankenstein game that's capable of, having all those things that everybody would want.
I think that's what they're shooting for, and that's why I think you might, unless you really, really loved 4th edition, you might keep your books, because it's not invalidating the fluff of 4th edition if 5th edition is compatible with it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk or Dark Sun or Raven's Loft or whatever you want to play is really, it means nothing. I mean,
they should stop
that's
putting
just
that
a setting.
in rule books.
Yeah.
There should be edition agnostic fluff and source material. I guess at this point in time would be the actual novels, and then you have the rules. You have your edition change.
The first Greyhawk books and Forgotten Realm books were practically editionless.
And there's really no crunch in them at all. It's just
at best like level.
Right. This is the world. That's basically what it is. And I don't have a problem with the company designating a campaign world for them, for that to be their flagship.
To focus adventures.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's probably going to be Forgotten Realms because that's what the most people love and are into. And I know it's like Eberron. Eberron was the big thing for a few years, and that's...
I really liked Eberron.
I think
it was just different enough to be new and exciting without being a complete departure from
I think they kind of gave up on that too soon, personally.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. I think it was a case of it burned itself out. People just...
Eberron was coming out like every couple of months. There was a new Eberron thing.
Again, stop making the crap,
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the problem when you're running a business is you need to release things, especially in this business, where you need to release things that people are going to buy. It's not they're not releasing comic books. They're not releasing things that are the bread and butter of most comic or game shops. They're releasing books that are probably going to sit on the shelf for a period of time. Maybe in the beginning people are going to take them off the shelf and buy them, a lot of them, but once that rush is over, they're just going to sit there.
They really need to push subscription-based stuff and make it valuable. Like right now, there's that Pathfinder Society that you subscribe to,
right,
and you get a lot of your main content from that. They need to bring back and make Dungeon and Dragon good.
Right.
Make it a reason to buy it, not just because you have a subscription, because you've always had a subscription, or because it's D&D and you want to support it. Make a reason for it. Make it good.
Speaking of
and then there's your
releasing.
Consistent cash flow.
One of the things, if they're really serious about this goal of theirs, I've read some people will say that the best thing they could do is re-release all their out-of-print material on PDF.
Yes, it makes no sense to me why not, because they don't care about the collector market. The collector market is going to be what it is regardless, because people want that book. But if you want the content, you need to be able to buy it.
Yeah, and make it for $5 or make it affordable.
Yeah,
sure.
People will throw money $5 at a time. They will just hemorrhage money,
especially
$5 at a time.
with the direction that gaming is going with electronic media. People are going to gobble that stuff up. If I had an iPad, I'd have every book I could possibly find that interests me.
And to go back to one of our previous episodes where we were talking about technology and gaming and things like that, something that you said, Dan, it would make perfect sense in this case. 5th edition they're trying to make it modular, make it, little pieces at a time that you can kind of fit together to tailor fit your game. Release each one of those little tiny bits on the internet for a nominal fee. You want the 4th edition combat system, or you want the 1st edition combat system? Here it is. $5.
That sounds like downloadable content.
And that's exactly what it is.
From video games.
Exactly. And it will make you a lot of money.
Yeah, do you know how much money BioWare has made off of me?
Look at
downloadable content alone.
Look at Xbox Live. They've figured out there's a gold mine in little bits of money at a time. Because you can't I do not have $45 to drop on a book.
Right.
I might have 5 or 10.
And another idea is tablet apps.
Yes.
Make a tablet app.
A good like a character generator.
Exactly. That you could buy little using that same idea.
A tablet app
you buy
for
a
character
class.
generation would save me so much paper.
Yeah. Or you would buy your classes. Like a monk is $1.
Yeah.
And so now I have the ability to make my monk class.
Right. Just think about all the different sections in a player's handbook. If you made each one of those 99 cents or $1.99 and just say, I want the first level wizard spells for $1.99, how many people would buy that?
People who aren't ever going to play a wizard would still buy it.
So, that's...
They could capitalize on something else that Xbox
But you're going to play a wizard.
Ooh.
So it's like with the video games, say you buy the first level wizard stuff for $1.99, the second level wizard stuff for $1.99, the third level wizard stuff for $1.99.
Right.
About a month later, after that third level thing comes out, you sell a packet of the first 3 for $5.
There's some system of microtransactions, and I think they need to figure out.
Well, I need to point out, though, there is no talk of microtransactions right now.
No, I understand.
We're just speculating.
Oh, yeah, this is pure.
We're saying if you have any ties to Wizards of the Coast, pitch the idea.
Yeah, basically, 5th edition, just listen to us. Well, gather your thoughts.
All right, come on, everybody give some Jerry Springer final thoughts, and we'll call this one a wrap.
I am not a big fan of Wizards of the Coast. They've ruined my favorite game. I have no love for Wizards of the Coast. I have no love for Magic the Gathering. If you don't like that, card players, I'm sorry. That's
I don't like card players.
But I hate to break this to you. The only reason that D&D is still in business is because of the money that Magic
I
made.
agree.
All right? There's
I agree.
No two ways around it.
Well, I don't think that if Wizards of the Coast had not bought TSR. I still think that we would still see Dungeons and Dragons in some form.
TSR was dying, man.
It doesn't. At any rate, I'm willing to give this a look. I'm not saying I'm going to buy it for sure. I mean, I'll hopefully participate in the beta testing, and when it comes out on the shelf, I'll pick it up, I'll give it a look. If it's something I like, I'll buy it.
And that's something that I do like about this, doing an open test. It gives people a chance to taste it before they buy it.
I'll be curious to